Good. Now, what is it like now? Anybody wants to share? I mean, your learning experience. Remember that all we're looking at today is your learning experience, what you used to be, what happened, and what is happening now. So, what is it like now? Anybody? I've got Matt's hand up again. Can others also raise their hands to say something? What is it like now? You're studying at home for some of us. For some of us, we're in school maybe, but what is it like now? Okay, Mma, you would actually get a turn, okay? Eze, can you say something? Is that J Eze? Yes. So what is it like now for you?
Because I go to school, it's different because obviously I go to a boarding school, but
Okay.
I'm not able to see day students apart from lessons. In lunch and dinner, I'm only allowed to sit with people in my year, and we have to wear masks while walking around the campus. So in that way, it's different.
How does it feel?
Definitely feels strange when you compare it to what was happening during the pandemic. And obviously with things like sports, we still do it, but there's a lot more measures. We can't do full contact, so it doesn't really feel natural.
Totally, I agree. Totally. Okay. Who else? Pete, Ma, yes. So if when you're done, Peter would, take a turn. Ma, yeah, sure.
So at our school, we ended online schooling in term 3. So everyone had to now go back in term 4. And it's been very different, but also people don't follow the correct measures. So it can be hard to stay safe and try and keep your family safe as well. And because of people not taking the correct measures, people do get infected at our school.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thanks. Peter?
When we came back from the first lockdown, it was like hard to start following the procedures that they wanted us to do because we weren't used to it. And it's hard to hear the teachers when they're teaching you with the face mask on because it's muffling their voices, and same when they're trying to hear us answer questions.
Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for sharing. I totally agree with you. Totally. Anybody still at home doing online school? You're not able to get into school. Anyone, can you share how your experience has been? Anyone, you're at home doing online
For
school?
me,
Okay, please share.
it is very, very disturbing and it's kind of annoying.
What part of it is annoying? Are you there? What part of it is annoying?
So
Is that Eze? Are you there? What part of it
yes,
is
yes,
annoying? Go ahead.
yes. So I said it's kind of stressful and it's kind of annoying also because sometimes the network isn't stable and sometimes the teacher will just go out by mistake and before he comes back to take like so much time. Then maybe during our free time, you now take the time from our free time and then tell us to have classes again, as in to continue from where we stopped. So we won't really have time to rest and other stuff like that. Also, sometimes the teachers aren't really that not really that firm when it comes to doing things with the computer because when it comes to like joining class or sharing the screen or doing something, they'll be confused and won't get to learn some things we're meant to learn. So it's kind of hard in a way.
I know. All right. Thanks for sharing. Ma, are you going to share again? You have your hand up. Okay, hand is up. So thank you everyone for sharing. So at the moment, I'm going to also show you some pictures. Let's have some mental, pictures here of what some students are going through. So you can see this person just on her bed and doing online school. Yeah. A family. I can see the girl at the end. I think she's just tired, isn't it? So you've got your dad over there. And I can see he's trying to study, maybe not study for himself, but he seems to be studying like a book, a chemistry book, a biology book, I'm sure to help, one of the children at home. So you can see that it's not just you, stressing out, but our parents are also there, trying to help. And you can see that everyone, thankfully, has a device to use, but in some homes, sometimes they need to share a particular device. So you can see that we've got issues there. You can see someone else here, of course, studying online and with a little brother somewhere on the side. Also, I think, studying as well online. Again, here, people are studying, trying to share, the same space to study. And someone is already frustrated here, tired, maybe couldn't meet up with a deadline, maybe couldn't understand a particular topic or a particular idea, and she's frustrated, and mom is trying to find out how to help. This one obviously is like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with this, I'm tired. And then, of course, because we are at home and we have to deal with, siblings and maybe our parents, and he's there angry, upset about something, and I'm sure the dad is also trying to talk him into doing the right thing. Of course, here again, she's so tired. You can see that all over written. I'm sure mom is saying, you can do this, you can go back to studying, you've got an assignment to do, you've got a deadline to meet up. And of course, some people are in school, and just like, someone had shared before, you've got to wear a nose mask. And here in this school, it's kind of extreme. You can see them with shields, in front of their tables. They can't even talk to friends anymore. They may not be able to share ideas as they would usually do, and it's kind of difficult. Sadly, not sadly, but then in some other places, schools have resumed maybe as normal. You can see what's happening here. In some places, you find that even schools are happening like that. But of course, you will know that this will pose like a danger and safety issues. Okay. For some other people, school is closed. No online, no in school, maybe no lesson teacher, nothing happening, and maybe they're just at home, maybe being helped by parents, or maybe not, or maybe no funds to even do online or whatever. So people are facing different things at the moment happening for them, okay? There was a survey done by this council. So it's called the National 4H Council. And what did they find out? So they actually had a survey for a few teenagers, and they found out that 10 out of 10 teenagers were struggling with mental health. I'm sure, a number of maybe you here maybe having the same thing. And these, teenagers, 81% of them are saying, yes, it's actually a significant problem, for my peers. And you can see like 55% of them having experienced anxiety. Some of them are excessively stressed. Some of them are depressed. And some think that, this mental health issue from this pandemic is going to stay a long time, not going anytime soon. More things from there. Most teenagers have said, schoolwork makes me feel anxious and depressed. They also feel there's just so much pressure. But then some are pretending to feel better and not worry anyone and just deal with it alone. But then others are looking out for alternative ways to cope. How do I do this? How do I get better? How do I do well, despite the fact that I have to study on my own, I have to keep staring at the computer, I have to listen to videos, I have to look out for, resources on my own, a whole lot, right? And some just want to just ignore the feeling and spend more time alone, when they have issues. Some turn to, social media. But again, teenagers are beginning to spend a lot of time. So 75% of their waking hours engaging with a screen. But we know that you want to engage with your world, with the world out there. You want to find out where you fit in, because you think or you feel that your social interactions will help you learn even more. Then what can I do? So for some people here who have been studying online, or maybe you're in school already and you had all these issues, you've been depressed, you've been anxious, you've not been able to meet up with deadlines, what have you done? Have you done anything to help, or did you do anything and it actually helped? So do you want to share and tell us what you did, and maybe we can learn from it? What can I do? Or what have you done? Or what are you doing? Anybody going to share? You can raise your hand to speak. You can type. What are you doing? What have you done that has worked for you? Okay, someone said still doing online lessons, which is stressful. Okay, coping with new realities. I'm currently in that situation. So what have you done? Has anybody done anything different? Have you been able to manage your time is what I'm asking. What have you really done to make sure that you meet up with deadlines, to make sure that you're able to keep in touch with friends, to make sure that you're doing well at home with your parents, you're doing well at home with your siblings, or to make sure that you understand. Have you done anything? Do you want to share? And has it worked for you? Okay, someone said time management. Thank you, Sean. Very important, time management. If you think about it, it seems like we're doing more online than we have ever done in school. So in school, it seems like, okay, yeah, the teacher is there, he's there. But now online, or maybe at home, we've had to do a lot more. Even for we, teachers, we've had to do a lot more as well. So time management is critical, because someone had already mentioned before that we now face a lot of distractions, isn't it? So if we're not aware of our timelines, if we're not aware of our deadlines, if we're not able to manage our time properly, then we're going to face a problem. Yes, another person said making a personal timetable, that would work really well, because if you look at it, when you were in school, you had a timetable, isn't it? You had timelines for different things. For those who are in the dorm, you had times for eating, being in class, being with friends, doing games, and doing all manner of things. So you had a timetable. Thank you. Another person said setting your priorities straight. Okay, good. Another person said you can talk to your school counselor, you can speak to someone that you trust. Another person also agrees with personal timetable. Thank you. Ask the teacher to send notes and download them to study. That's what someone else has done. You've asked your teacher to send you notes, and then you actually downloaded them to study. If that has worked for you, really good. So, but I just have a few things to add, to that too, to the things you've done. You need to set up an effective workspace. Now, if you look back at the pictures, right, you're going to find out that some of them were maybe on a table. Apart from the lady who was on her bed, you had some people with a workstation where you had a computer, you had all the resources that you would need. So that is really important, because it sets your mind, to say, okay, you know what, I've got schoolwork to do, and this is my workstation. And it has to be in a place that is kind of away from noise, and then even if you have to be in a place where there's noise, some people have learned to use maybe a headset, an earpiece to help them, concentrate and listen to the teacher. If it's a live teaching or if it's a pre-recorded, you're able to, listen well, understand, and then do the work. Again, we've talked about time awareness, isn't it? Now we need to establish routines. Very, very, very important, because if we don't do that, we lose track of time. We don't meet up with our deadlines. We wait maybe until the last day. And then even if you don't do it, The unfortunate thing, maybe for some schools that already have like plan of work already, so it keeps coming, you know, even if you don't finish the other one, the next one comes, the next one. So you have a whole lot more to do in a short time, and then you get frustrated, you get anxious, you get depressed. You're like, oh no, I'm tired of this. You know, I don't know who I was talking to, and the mom said that the daughter says she wants to go back to school. She's screaming at home, I want to go back to school. I am frustrated. I can't do this anymore, because she's staying at the computer. She's wondering, I've got a whole lot to do at a time, and more assignments are coming. And her teacher is calling to say, your daughter has not done this. She needs to, you know, turn in her assignment. So if you kind of, you're time aware and you establish routines, this is what I'm going to do from this time. And if you find out some of us don't wake up early anymore, can you tell me what time you would normally wake up now? Now you are home and not going to school. Anybody willing to share? What time do you wake up now? 12. I've gotten an answer. 12 noon. Somebody said 10. Mama said 5 a.m. Wow, that's quite early. Another person said 10. But somebody said 12. I'm not saying it because it's wrong, but it's what has happened. Another person said 7 a.m., 5 a.m., 10 a.m., 5. But you would know that usually if you were going to go to school, you dare not wake up by 12 noon. Isn't it? You wouldn't do that. So you need to establish routines that would, you know, get you back into what you would normally do. So somebody said, depending on when I sleep though. So what do you do that makes you sleep late is another thing to also, you know, consider, because if you don't have your normal routines now, when school gets back to what it used to be, it's going to be a challenge. Can you imagine waking up at noon when classes should have started like 7 or 8 a.m.? So we need to establish, you know, routines, okay? Now, resources have been made available online. I hear sometimes that lesson notes or assignments or things are delivered even at the door. I heard that, I'm like, amazing, right? So you need to use up all the resources that have been made available for you. Online resources, if you've got books at home, your parents can help out with a whole lot. Then ask for a time with your teacher. There's somebody who talked about, you know, calling up a teacher to ask for time, because usually you would want to do that because the teacher is there standing and trying to make the environment conducive for you to learn. So not having that at times, not even at times, most times, right, is really like, oh no, what do I do? So sometimes you need to ask for a time with your teacher. You can send a mail, you can ask your mom to call up the teacher and say, I don't understand this. Can you explain this? Can you explain that? And I'm sure your teacher will be willing to do that. Now, because we want to maintain social interactions, we could have chats with friends, but you can see I've written there in coordinated lunch time. So it doesn't happen every time of the day. We're on our phones, maybe chatting away and, you know, forgetting that we've got work to do, right? So we can have times maybe in lunch times, of course, maybe with the, you know, permission of your parents. They need to know what you're doing at that time, and of course who you're talking to and all, because maybe you need to call to find out, I was trying to do this math, I've not gotten it, how did you do it? Or maybe you want to just share as you would usually do maybe in school. It may not feel the same way, but then it will help, okay, to have a chat. Now you need to be patient and compassionate. You know, at some point I said some homes, they need to share, you know, devices. So at this time you may have to wear, you know, have to, you know, put it in capital letters, be patient and compassionate if you need to share, you know, with your siblings. Spend time with family. I don't want to say it sucks. It doesn't suck to just be at home, right? But it's an opportunity. Lots of families now have seized the opportunity to bond with parents, with their siblings. You know, it's been a time to just be at home and understand ourselves, you know, and don't get to a point where we begin to fight, and also spend time with family, because we need that, you know, for ourselves, okay? Self-study. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, some people are not able to either go back to school or to do online, isn't it? So they have to self-study. It's really it's going to get, you know, difficult. I totally understand, but I'm sure with the help of mom, with our parents, our teachers, we can do that. Again, speak up. In that survey, we had some teenagers who would rather not share. who would rather not express the way they're feeling, and they just like, bottle up and all. And that's why you see a lot of young people, getting into depression. And before you know, there was a particular time we had suicide happening everywhere, lots of other things happening. Please speak up. You can talk to your parents, you can talk to someone. You remember we said that we don't just talk to anybody, but you talk to people who are within your circle, people, your support system, your parents. It could be maybe a religious leader, it could be somebody, but it should be somebody that you trust. Then you check in with the doctor. Studying at home, maybe not having a good workspace, table, a chair, sitting upright and doing that. You saw that lady on the bed. You could have, back aches. You could have all those happening. You can, check in with the doctor and know what's happening. And then for people who have gone back to school, I've heard of students who went back to school and came home with, COVID. So you need to also, talk to your doctor about that, speak to your doctor and get some help. I've got a wheel on your screen, a lot of other things to do, get a drink, read a book. Sometimes you can, take a break from all the academic work. Remember, within your routine, in your timetable, take a break. You can read a book, you can listen to music, you can take deep breaths. And sometimes when you need to stop, and that is why you need a timeline, you need a timetable and a time to say, you know what, it's time to take a break, it's time to stop. You stop at that moment. If you need to rest, you rest. If you need to eat some food, because of course at this time you need to begin to feed on healthy meals, which I'm sure our families would be happy to make available. You talk to an adult. Sometimes you need to count slowly, just to bring down the pace of everything that is walking you up. And of course you need to exercise. You don't need to get to the gym to exercise. Just make some room at home. Sometimes it's fun to do it with family, isn't it? With your siblings, with your parents, exercise. Some people also get a relief from doing a coloring, and also these are still the same things. And you've got a number of other things happening here. Do jumping jacks. You take a deep breath. You color. You read a book. Lots of things that could help. Remember, we said yesterday we practice our coping skills. So anytime you get anxious at that time, you're not, I don't use the word frustrated, but anytime it happens, for people who are like, stressed out, you've got lots of things to do to ease off the stress. But most importantly, please don't bottle up, speak up, speak to someone, speak to your parents, speak to an adult at home. You can stand up and stretch. Sometimes if you've got sunlight outside, you can go out, especially early in the morning, get some sunlight. That last one, they ask for a hug. Sometimes it just feels so lonely, especially when we're isolated inside and a lot is happening for us. So these are some of the things that we can do to cope. Remember, I said I was going to just limit it to what's happening now, what we're experiencing as young people. As much as we want to identify with the world, we want to know where we fit in, we want to interact with people around, and we're not able to do it as we would normally do, but then we need to keep moving. We need to keep walking. So yeah, we've come to the end, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here again today and having me. So we'll take questions if there are, or if there's anything to share from anyone.